Morning, it's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony. Thanks for joining me up on the hill this morning. It is Sunday, November 30th. We're going to walk through the first week of December, essentially. Can't believe we're just weeks away from 2026. It's interesting. We're at this threshold. We're finishing up a 9-year numerologically, and we start the 1 year in 2026. Okay, so we are finishing up on a lot of levels, astrologically, numerologically. Even in the Chinese astrology, when we get to the next year, which starts in February, it'll be the year of the horse, fire horse too, and we're coming out of a year of a snake, okay? And the snake has a lot to do with shedding, okay? So again, endings, horse is like moving forward, especially in the fire, extra energy and oomph to get ahead and make some moves. So we're at this threshold, this transition threshold here, and the planets are following that as well. Like I said, we're just coming out of Saturn retrograde. So Saturn turned direct on Thursday, okay, on the 27th. Then on Saturday, Mercury turned direct. Okay, so we came out of the most recent Mercury retrograde at 20 degrees Scorpio. So it's going to move from 20 degrees Scorpio to 6 degrees Sagittarius by mid-December to cover that same zone that it retrograded over, the shadow zone. And so we're still going to be finishing things up with that, but it's in forward motion, so we're done with it. And the next time we have a Mercury retrograde will be the next set of eclipses, which will also be when the Chinese New Year starts, okay? So February 17th is a new moon in Aquarius. It happens to be eclipsed, okay? So that's our next eclipse season. Mercury retrograde starts shortly after that, and it's the start of that Chinese New Year in this one numerological year. So 2026 has an extremely different feel to 2025. So if 2025 has felt like a drag, like we've been pulled back into things we thought we were done with, it's supposed to be that way. 2026 is going to be, okay, we survived, now what? Okay, and then kind of the sky's the limit, the road is wide open, kind of a feel to it, okay? But anyway, so Saturn moving direct in Pisces. It's going to finish up in Pisces. It's been in Pisces since March of 2023, okay? And it'll be done. And when it's done, it'll join Neptune in Aries. It's 0 degrees Aries in February. Again, right around that time of that Chinese New Year, right around the time of the next set of eclipses and Mercury retrograde period. Okay. And so, and that is going to be the start of basically a new phase of societal evolution that I've been talking about for, weeks and weeks now. So do check out on my YouTube channel, Christopher Taylor Sovereign Harmony. Look at Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 0 degrees Aries. Lots of information there that I can't get into in this little snippet here. But anyway, so that is on the horizon. And with Mercury moving forward now, there's a sense that we can, get moving again. Okay. On the heels of that, coming up here this week, we do have a full moon in Gemini. So full moon about 13 degrees Gemini. Okay. Just before that, we do have Venus right now, as we speak, finishing up with the outer planets. So we've had all the personal planets aspecting the outer planets as they move from Scorpio into Sagittarius. Same is true for Venus. So Venus is moving into Sagittarius today on Sunday, November 30th. And so it'll be finishing up its aspects to the outer planets. So a lot of finishing with the Neptune at 29 degrees and Uranus at 29 degrees. They're in Pisces and Taurus respectively. So Venus has been touching up those here the last couple days, and then it'll cross into Sagittarius and then form that sextile to Pluto, something that Mars has already done and that the Sun has already done. And now Venus is going to do that as well. And then Mercury will finish it up here in the next couple weeks, okay? So with that full moon in Gemini coming up, it's like this, I see it as like a gust of wind, okay? So we've been diving into the depths, into the water, into the depths of Scorpio, okay, with all the personal planets and everything else. And it's been very soupy, okay? And now we have this Gemini full moon. Like I said, it's like a gust of wind that's just going to dry things out. So essentially, we've been in this kind of wash cycle, like I mentioned, with the water grand trine. So Venus is made that water grand trine from Scorpio to Jupiter and Saturn last week. Mercury is going to finish up because it's moving direct now. It started everything in late October, but it's going to finish up that wash cycle. So that water grand trine finishes up later this week. And that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So it's the ruler of this full moon. Okay, so it's the finishing of the wash cycle essentially this week. With this gust of wind, we're ready to dry. So we're not putting ourselves in a dryer, we're getting agitated. We're just hanging ourselves out, on the clothesline, the old-fashioned style of drying. So it's a gradual process. So it's that first gust of wind that says, yeah, put their clothes out to dry now. We've done enough diving into the depths, into the water, to see what has been holding us back essentially. And now we're ready for that drying phase. That drying phase is going to last us, until we get into 2026. Okay, because something really wants to land here in January when we see the conjunction with Sun, Mars, and Venus in Capricorn. Okay, but before we can get that, we've got to clear out and dry out all this soupy, watery energy that we've been in the last several weeks, a couple of months. Okay, it's been purposeful. It has been heavy, but everything comes to an end. And this full moon in Gemini signifies the beginning of that end. It's the beginning of, again, that drying phase. Okay, and the information that can come through this week can be jarring. Like, I think of it like, you have a bunch of papers stacked on a desk nice and neatly, and then a gust of wind comes in and blows it all around. Now, those papers aren't ruined. They can be reorganized, etc. Maybe reorganized in a different way, but at least the order that they were in has now been disrupted. So there's something kind of disruptive and very awakening about the information that can come through this week. Okay, and what we do with it is what we do with it. What's interesting is that full moon will be squaring, a dead square to the moon's nodes. So the moon's nodes are right now at 13 degrees Pisces, the north node, and 13 degrees Virgo, the south node. This will be a full moon at 13 degrees Gemini. So the sun will be at 13 degrees Sagittarius. So we're talking about a grand cross in mutable signs, essentially, with this full moon. And so lots of changes. Mutable energy is all about change, all about adjustment. Like I said, that those piles of paper getting blown into a mess, they can be reorganized into something else or back to where they were. But the idea is that this disruption is needed. This change is needed. Okay. And so the more we choose, because the north node is in Pisces, so the more we choose toward the unknown and to trusting ourselves, even if we don't know, that's Virgo. Virgo is like, what you know and your habits and things like that. So whatever our options are, the options that are in line with trusting the unknown are better options for us now. So based on the information that comes flooding in these next couple of weeks with this full moon in Gemini, are we going to resort back to our old habits and say, well, I'm familiar with this. This is how I'm going to handle this. Or are we going to say, hey, well, this opens up some new things. I never thought about this. Maybe I'll try this instead. It's an opportunity to do things different, to change things. Again, it's all mutable energy. So we're changing things up. That's the big theme for this week with that full moon. And again, we're in this transition. We're coming out of that soupy water, the depths that we've been in. The wash cycle's over, and our vision is getting more clear as these personal planets start moving into Sagittarius. So out of that deep water of Scorpio into Sagittarius. So we already have Mars there, the sun there. Venus is entering today. And then Mercury is going to enter Sagittarius where it started its retrograde. It'll be back in Sagittarius in early December, and it'll be out of its shadow by mid-December. Okay, that's when our vision is going to get a lot more clear. And what we want to land in January becomes a lot more clear. And where we want to set ourselves up personally as society is transforming before us here in the early part of 2026 in this 1 year, this year of the fire horse, where Saturn and Neptune are joining each other in a fire sign at 0 degrees point of the zodiac, never mind the 0 degrees point of Aries. It's a whole new world coming on board in 2026. So just be happy we've made it through 2025. We're still got a little bit left, but it's coming, it's winding down, and the switch is happening. And so allow what changes want to blow in here this week and next week. Allow that to come in. Allow it to challenge us to choose, again, differently. Choose something unknown versus known. That is going to be what takes us where we ultimately want to go on a soul level. Okay. So with that, we'll leave it. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please do comment. If you want to follow me more consistently on Facebook, I do post like semi-daily. I will be putting out my monthly YouTube for the month of December 2025 tomorrow. So look for that. And other than that, if you want to do your chart, see where all these planets are landing in your chart, we can do that as well. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Take care.